Hello, hello. This is Keegan with Retrieving Sanity, a recovery podcast. I'm making this little video to help people that are new to Riverside and want to figure out a few things that maybe they can't figure out through Riverside's tutorials or things like that, and just to give a little bit of user-friendly experience as well, because I've had to learn some of these things the hard way. And with Riverside, they have added things, they've improved for the most part, and I just want to help people out with it to see what we can do to make the experience a little bit better all around. So with that being said, this is not a sponsored video whatsoever. I'm just doing it because I thought it was something for a fun little project. If you would, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment to let me know what you liked, what you'd like to see next time, or so on and so forth, and we'll make another video for that. So thank you. So whenever we're over here in my projects, for some reason I have this pop up all the time now, and I just close it because whatever. So this is starting from a magic episode. The original recording was, I think, 58 something minutes, 57 minutes and 29 seconds. So the made for you magic episode that I've personalized, let's see, it's the 16:9 smart layouts, fill, brand, remove pauses at balanced, remove filler words. I don't do that because removing filler words can make it way too choppy sometimes. They've gotten a little bit better, especially at the remove pauses, because they'll, instead of cut everything, they'll also mute some stuff instead. But I also keep smart mute off until I notice that there's something else going on with either my headphones were too loud and my microphone's picking up an echo or something else. Magic Audio, I do have it on for my guests only because sometimes they don't have the best setup. So we're just going to give them a little bit of a head start right there. So that's how my magic episodes are set up at first. So we're going to pop into edit. Now, keep in mind, all this is from scratch from what the podcast studio wanted me to do. So this is where I've just do a little bit of a little video. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, your recovery-focused podcast with your host, Keegan. Today, so it didn't capture me right there for some weird reason, so we're going to delete that. I usually do because I have an intro video that I do for the live streams, but then whenever I put it into DaVinci Resolve, I create a cold open. I won't do that today. We're just going to go over how to work with the script, the timeline, and everything else in that regards. So we're going to come over here real quick. We're going to look at our AI tools. So we have 21.7 seconds that are cut from 3 pauses, and I could revert to original, get those 21 seconds back if I wanted. I'm not going to. But what we're going to do instead is just look over here. So we got 5 suggested cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll check those out here in a minute, but we want to make sure everything's just kind of there. Smart mute, we leave off for right now. And then I don't mess with this eye contact because I'm looking at my guests, and my setup is, it's a triangle, basically. I got 1 monitor, 2 monitor, camera. So whenever I'm looking at my guests, I'm looking at them, and then I look at my audience. Y'all. So anyways, I've used this animate clip a little bit, auto generate b-roll. Never used it. Maybe I should, I don't know. But we're going to go to tracks. We're going to check this out. So Magic Audio starts out at 100%. We're going to turn that down, but I'll show you why. But for the time being, we're just going to look at mine. Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, your recovery-focused podcast with your host, Keegan. Today we're talking to... So if I wanted to, I could do my playback speed to make the editing a little bit faster. And if I don't want to do that, what I want to do though is bring it back to normal pace, and I want to change up how this is going. So first up, if we increase our timeline zoom, you can see where the markers are for camera transitions. And I don't like this view right here with me being on the left because my setup makes it to where I'm looking into nothingness whenever the guest is on. So what I want to do is I want to hit similar scenes, and it's going to mark all the scenes that have the same layout. And I'm going to drag me over there. Done. Now it looks like I'm actually looking at my guest. So then I go ahead and hit this scene again, because if I leave it on similar scenes, whenever I go and try to do another edit, it can mess up everything really quick and leave me very, very frustrated. So with that, we're going to go ahead and hit play. The bad workplace.
Absolutely, Keegan. Thanks so much for having me tonight.
So right away, I can tell you that her magic audio is a little not great. So we're going to drop it down to 20 just to see the difference there.
You know, a lot of times, like you said, people assume it's something negative. But if you think about it, if you're at a job that you don't
Not
really
too bad.
like, you know, 5 o'clock comes and you are out the door, you're checking out. But when it comes to the things we're passionate about, those are the things we toss our boundaries.
So real quick, one of the things, if you notice that I had a little bit of a laugh. So right here is something that if I were to do smart mute, it would probably take away that laugh. But one thing that I can do is expand the tracks, and we can see all the little times that I make like or something.
Because we're all in. Those are our passions.
See, so what I do want to do though is I don't want it to focus on us too much. I want to have her be the focus for her explanations, because we had a good bit of me. Now we have this, and then
if you think about it, if you're at a job that you don't really like, you know, 5 o'clock comes and you are out the door, you're checking out. But when it comes to the things we're passionate about, those are the things we toss our boundaries out the window for inside.
Now this, I don't know what exactly that is. I don't know if I can do anything about that, to be honest. So
because we're all in those.
So that sounds a little bit more out of place. So what I can do is I can just highlight this little bit and hit mute right there. So
ride those highs and lows so much more intensely because we're all in. Those are our passions. A lot of times it can be isolating because, again, you know.
And real quick, I also do want to go to my tracks and turn off the media board, because whenever we have the AI tools on, removing pauses and stuff, the intro video for some reason is taken as a pause or something, and it gets rid of it automatically. So if I turn it off in the tracks, it frees up a little bit of room right here so I can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. Now, I also don't have my captions on because the places that I will produce episodes for don't want burnt in captions. They want SRT files instead. So that's why I don't have my captions on. If you want to, feel free. If you want to, you can play with them. I like this style right here. That's for my brand. But otherwise, we're just going to leave it alone, and we're going to keep going.
Through it.
Real quick, I just turned up my headphones a little bit more. So hang on.
You know, 5 o'clock comes and you are out the door. You're.
So if you do notice something,
checking out. But when it comes to.
So I wish I could zoom in a little bit more, but you see where this line gets a little bit thicker?
Clock comes and you are out the door. You're checking.
What happened is that my headphones were were a little bit too loud, and my microphone was picking that up. So what we do want to do now is go through, and we do want to hit our smart mute. And so it's going to get rid of those moments. So one of the things is
we're passionate about, those are the things we toss our boundaries out the window for. And science has shown, they've done studies, that those are the things that can actually set us up for.
So it looks a lot better. But the thing is, now that I have smart mute on, I am going to have to be a little bit more mindful about any moments where maybe we're laughing or something like that. And if you scroll across this timeline, you can see all those moments where I'm making like or yeah, kind of statements. So we jump forward
20 years ago.
So if we see right here, there's something. So what was going on here?
Who I could be, and I did, you know, have this.
So what if I want to hear what that was? I can just select that, turn it back on.
I could be, and I did, you know, have this major meltdown moment where I hit my own kind of.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want it or dislike it, so we're going to leave it as is, as it was. So if we do look here, though, right here, there's a little section that looks like I'm laughing. So let's just play this right quick.
You know, like again, that.
So yeah, I'm laughing right there, but does it sound good for what's going on? Oh, nope, wrong button. So here we go.
Like again, that those
And I accidentally added a marker, so just a quick Control Z.
like again, that those negative Nancy's in my head telling me all these bad things.
We're going to, and if you notice right down here on hers, that you've got this line that's just constantly going. It's for a few different reasons. Sometimes it'll be on my track, sometimes it'll be on theirs. And it's usually a background hum or something to do with their microphone that I've noticed. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, but it could be something that you need to be really mindful for. And so if we see right here, there's another moment where I could be laughing and the smart mute has decided to cut that out.
Too far, absolutely. Again, it's that moderation piece.
So what if I wanted to see how it is? We'll again highlight it, hit unmute.
Again, it's that moderation piece. I don't do the same things every single day.
We can also now look again. And one of the things that I'm looking for is the camera transitions. So we have her speaking, and then it goes back to a combo, and then solo, combo, solo, combo. And maybe I don't want all this in right there. So we're actually going to bring that in right about here. One other big thing. One of the things is in the AI tools, removing pauses will usually try to get rid of these. But again, sometimes it will make things not good. And whenever you have a lag or the latency between guest and your own self, you can have a little bit of a lag. So sometimes you do want to get rid of this little bit of a pause because
Life.
But see, it went a little bit too quick. Okay. But what I can do is I can restore that and we can zoom in, make that go away. If I really wanted to, I could just hit S for split, bring it back over here, S again, minimize this track, and now this little bit is highlighted. So we have 0.83 seconds selected out of the 1.2 that was up there. Hit delete on the keyboard, and bam, now we have something that sounds a little bit more natural flowing. Okay, yeah, that see what I mean? Now what we can do is again expand the tracks and resume and just kind of see how we want things to flow. So we're going to again see right here
because I love it and it's so much fun, but just like you can have too much of any good.
I don't necessarily want the the first part of a laugh, so we're going to eliminate that just by dragging that bar over a tad. And we're going to go through again, and we're just going to kind of see who's talking the most and what kind of camera layout there is, because those transitions can make all the difference whenever we're talking about a video podcast or a video cast or a show, talk show, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care. That we really enjoy tend to give us back.
It's about kind of spreading
here you can kind of hear her studio is a little echoey, which don't get me wrong, mine is too, because I'm in a big apartment. I'm in a little corner.
It's about kind of spreading it out in more.
If I wanted to, I could go back to the Magic Audio, bump it up a little bit to say 33. See how that sounds?
It's about kind of spreading it out in more than one.
It helps a little bit. I don't want to go more than that right now. Whenever I'm done with an over earphones check, I will sit here and go to my speaker bar and play from there, make sure it sounds good both ways, because if it sounds good here, it may not sound good over there and vice versa. So I do want to find a way that is palatable to everyone as best as I can. So we're going to, again, just kind of play it.
So it's not just one thing. Like when I talk about self-care, there's actually 8 different pillars that really make up like a healthy self-care. It's not just.
So there's a little bit of a oh from me. We want to put that in.
doing one thing. So it's not just working out all the time or eating healthy, you know, but
So why did it transition back
you
here?
start to see it from these
I don't need that. And if I wanted to, I could just drag these back over to make a quick
those
transition.
types of practices. And so when you start to see it from these different areas, because not only
I don't really like that too much, but what we can do is increase that a little bit more.
gratitude, those types of practices. And so when you start to see it from these different areas, because not only do they work together to
That's
support
okay.
you, but if one of them's
I can tell you right now that I was laughing right there. And if we scoot this back, then we can definitely see that. And I may want to have that one be a little bit audible.
next day, I'm not going to be as motivated to work out, you know? And so you can start to see how those dominoes start to fall if we only focus on just one thing, because they all interact and affect each other.
So again, we got this a little bit of a pause, and maybe I don't like how much of a pause there is between her last words and mine. So we're just going to come over here, hit S, and right before I start talking again, hit S again, minimize the tracks, delete it.
Affect each other.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't aware that there was 8 pillars, but real quick, can we do a little bit of like a time machine thing and just get a little bit of your backstory? Like, because you hit burn. I don't need that like in there. So what I can do is just click on the word, hit delete, and it will create this gap right there. Because you hit burnout yourself while you were helping. So we don't need that too much. I'm kind of stumbling over my words, so we're going to do that. Through it, did you feel kind of betrayed by yourself or something there? And what if I didn't really want this too much? Bring her back over to that, and we're going to bring this over and bring that over. So sometimes we will get it to where the same layout twice for some reason. Maybe I want it, maybe I don't. But what I can do is I can leave this here, move it over a tad, and I can bring, and so what I'm going to do here is look, and it has us in a combo layout of this whole section. So for about 5 minutes there, all the way up to about 10 minutes of just being right here, which, don't get me wrong, is good if you're wanting to just not have anything, but we're trying to make a little bit of an engaging video, so we do want to have those transitions. So here is a combo. We're going to bring this out some, and then instead of having to select a different layout each time, we're going to do this. We're going to come over here, we're going to click where we want to have it go back to this layout. So we're going to hit a marker, hit add scene, and we're going to hit add scene again. Then we're going to come back over here, add scene, and then maybe we want this one to be a little bit more me. So we'll do add scene here, and then we'll do add scene here again, and then we'll do add scene here, and here, and here, and maybe another one here, and here, and here, and here. So if you see right here at the very end, she's got this one. So I'm going to bring this back to here. So she's the focus expanded out a little bit more. And we're going to come back to here where we started. And we're going to make sure that the marker is over this layout, over this scene, sorry. And we're going to come up to layout and make sure that this scene is selected. Remember how earlier I said if we don't click back to this scene, if I were to still have it on similar scenes, anything that I'm going to do with the layout is going to affect the rest of it too, and it will mess everything up really quick. You do have a little redo or undo button here if you find that you accidentally did that and you catch it early enough. So thing is, we want to do this scene, and we're going to go to solo speaker, and we're going to make sure that this right here is highlighted before we press it. We're going to click it. Bam. Now it's her. So now it's us, her, and then us again. And then I want to do the same thing here for this scene. Layout, her, come back over, it's us. But this time I wanted this one to be more me. So we're going to come over here, drag the marker to here, do layout. So this one, it will auto shift to the guest usually. So we click on and we click up here and then select me. And then now it will have this
Wait till
nice
we get
little
to that bird out place.
click. Sometimes doing S on the keyboard doesn't work. Sometimes you have to click down here or on the timeline. And then we're going to move this over and then do that again. Minimize and delete. So real quick, if you notice right here on hers, you can't see it. Okay, so we're going to move me right here. So if you see right here, we have a pause and then what it thinks was a filler word. So if we look down here at this timeline, you can see that it tried to mute her out right there. And we're going to just unmute that little bit because she actually said something else.
A little bit, as well as
She said a little bit, and Riverside decided that it was a filler word. So sometimes you do have to be careful. The AI stuff is great to an extent, but you still have to go through and make sure that everything is kind of a little bit more refined, if you will. So what we're going to do is come on over here and just kind of keep going through and repeating the process, seeing where we've got maybe something that we want to.
like it's 100% equal. It's about the
So I don't want it to be a whole bunch of this. So we're going to do this, so that it's right there. And we're going to do this again, expand it out a little bit, and then bring the layout. We bring this over here, layout, solo speaker, and now it's her, so on and so forth. And we're going to look again, us. I want this to be a her again, Daniela. Then this, I may want to bring it back to right about there. And then we can do this. So it's a combo, and then bring it back to a solo portion of me right there. So click, there we go. Sometimes you just have to let it load a little bit, but we're going to come back over here, layout, solo, there we go. So it's a little bit of both, a little bit of me, a little bit of her, a little bit of both of us. And if you see right here, again, there's something that was
of self-care through.
so there was a little bit of a yeah from me. I don't know if that's necessarily needed or not. We're going to leave it alone for right now. Or I can just expand this out right here to include that whole bit.
Of self-care throughout your entire day. So it's might be 5 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20.
So yeah, there's something going on between the recording because it seemed like she was hearing me a lot sooner than I was hearing her. But if we try to get rid of this, so one thing that we can do as well, we can hit that and we can also see where it deleted it. And maybe we don't want all of it there. And we can just pull this back a little bit so that, okay. So, and what that does is instead of creating this split in the timeline right here, what it actually does is that it just kind of cuts it in the timeline itself. So there's two different ways to go about it. And mind you, this is a pretty quick edit. This is something that is very much me showing y'all how I go and do some of mine. Whenever I do a full edit all the way through, make sure everything's good, I will make sure that I listen to the whole thing over again. I don't necessarily need that there, so I can either hit mute again, or I could even do the undo up there if I wanted. So it is working on her, working on it, it's focusing on her right there, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's mostly her talking all throughout here. As you can tell, it's very heavy on her right now. So we're going to move this one back over to here. We'll keep this one right about there. Now we can sit here and also I am going to go back through and fix all this, but I want to show y'all some of the AI producer fluff things. What does it think needs to be erased? So before we just hit that, let's see. Huh. Okay, I like that. We'll go ahead and get this one out of there. Uh, well, one other thing that I have to, we'll get that out here too. To ask real quick, because you said creativity, I was watching something lately that was talking about getting into the flow state and how creativity is one of those big things for people that want to get into flow. Or hang on, let me rephrase that. Flow is so the AI producer is saying, hey, let's get rid of this, improve the speaker's flow. So we're actually going to do that. And we'll leave this pause in there just to make it feel a little bit more natural. And we'll replay it, see what that says. I was watching something lately that was talking about getting into the flow state. Flow is a big thing for the creative type people. So it's in there. And she mouthed something, but it doesn't show that she actually said anything. But do you ever find yourself downhill? Do you ever find yourself or helping people? So if I didn't want that, I could always zoom in here, see what's going on. Do you ever, which is right there. So if I don't want that, I could just bring this right across. Because for some reason it didn't catch it right here. It thinks it's part of that. So going downhill. Do you ever find yourself or helping people accidentally? So there's that. Then let's see. If we want to check our AI producer, we can go over to Find Fluff. It's going to again pull this up, and what we can do is we can just hit check, marked as resolved. We got it fixed. Okay, so in the review. That's so strange. I've not seen that. So if I wanted to see what else we could do with that, we're going to pop on over here. Just click what is there. Cut the segment to eliminate verbal stumbles. So who knows what? But those little things, I lost some spot. What was I saying? Help me out real quick. Just that you found time for yourself every day. Let's see. So looking at this, how long would it bounce back for something, you know? So we want to say a little bit of exercise, meditation, go outside for a little bit. Because like whenever life happens, we don't know what's necessarily going to how long it's going. And we can tell that right here it might be good to keep me as a focus and bring her back in right there. And we're going to go ahead and mark this as resolved because we don't need all of it. Whenever life happens, we don't know what's necessarily going to, how long it's going to take to bounce back from. What's necessarily going to, we don't know how long it's going to take to bounce back from something. And whenever you're sitting there, from something, you know, and whenever you're sitting there, like you said, some people will say. So we can tell you right now that, again, sometimes the AI producer is great. Sometimes it just really isn't. So something happened here that was really funny. Let's see what that was.
I've had to unpack that myself. Don't worry. It's
and it's one of those like, but it's a trauma response. But I'm here. I'm okay. Like I feel fine.
Yeah. You say it with that high pitched Ross voice. I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I don't need to keep that in there. Anyways. So we can also go up here, click on this again, hit resolve. Otherwise, it's going to be there. And if during recording, if you hit any markers, this is what they pop up as. But it'll be a picture of you instead of this purple dot. So, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of that by myself. And you could also click on the little comment right there. and we're going to hit mark resolve. So this almost concludes everything. I just realized there's one more review to do. We're going to get rid of this again. And really, I don't need her last little words because I had already kind of asked that. But again, this is a quick little how to edit thing. One of the things I did want to do is, let's look at me. One of the things that Riverside added not too long ago is being able to click here and we can actually do some color adjustments, which is pretty cool. So if sometimes my lighting isn't the best, if I wanted to, I could increase lightness and wash it myself out, really. Or I could come over here, put in an integer of some sorts. What if I wanted to increase the contrast? I could do that. Doesn't really seem to do much until you get up there. Saturation, temperature, all that. You can hit reset to get all these back to 0. And what we're going to do for this episode, the lighting was actually pretty good. It was pretty spot on. I'm going to go through real quick by myself and make sure everything looks nice and tidy. Make sure that the camera transitions are in place because, as you can tell, there's some of them that aren't going to fly with the way that I was trying to show y'all earlier. As you can see, we have a lot going in right here, a lot of different transitions of sorts. And we're going to bring this one out a little bit more just to make it feel a little bit more natural. And if you notice here, pillars of self-care, correct?
Yep.
So we don't want that. So we're going to come here, click me. And get rid of that. So we have to be wary of who's talking when and who the camera is focusing on. Sometimes the thumbnails will lie, so you do have to be wary about that, especially if you've tried to change a layout or two or a scene. Sometimes it will sit there and make you think that you've done it for a whole bunch more than what you really did. So this is how we will do a lot of the editing over here at Retrieving Sanity. Again, this is only the first portion of edit. We do main audio adjustments and stuff in DaVinci Resolve, but for the time being, Magic Audio, we do turn it down, if not just off in general. Right now we have it turned it down, but we do have it on, of course, and there's even an equalizer if you feel like you want to mess with that a little bit. And really, this kind of stuff is like, it works. It does kind of work, but at the same time, sometimes it can get it messed up. And used to, I don't know if you still can. Yes, there you go. So you can actually mess with it here if you feel like messing with it on this aspect of things. If you want to get your audio engineer side out and just kind of play around with it, you can totally do that. I've had to do that for a couple of episodes. But for this episode right now, I think we're okay with where it's at. So we're just going to do any other plugins or whatever for the audio track in DaVinci. And I'm going to leave this here. So I'm going to go through, make sure everything is topped up. If you liked this, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. Hit like, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. But just give some love where love is appreciated. Give some love to those creators who you like supporting. And I mean, if you found this helpful, let me know, and I'll make more episodes about it and more how-tos, get a little bit more in depth or something, and we'll go from there.